Yo, welcome back everybody to a brand new video here on the second channel, and I literally just got home like 5 minutes ago, and I thought, hey, you know what, we gotta do the Knoxville recap video, and there was a bunch of new stuff that went down this weekend that I have to do videos here on the second channel, so there's a lot of content that I do have to make here on the second channel, so I wanted to make sure that I did that. So I wanted to get this video out as soon as possible. So this video is going to be a bit of a later upload here on the channel, a bit of a late night upload. It's probably going to be like a double upload today on the channel. There's a lot of things that went down this weekend that I need to make a video on here on the second channel. Now, if you do want to know why there isn't going to be a vlog on Knoxville, let's just say, hey, you gotta wait. There's gonna be some big stuff going on with me in Knoxville. So I just wanted to kind of tease that a little bit if you're wondering why I didn't record a vlog for Knoxville, because I was originally going to, but there was something else that I did instead that I think is going to be even better than a vlog. So just keep that in the back of your head for a bit. But Knoxville was a fun time. It was a blast. I unfortunately lost my winning in day 2. And as you may know, I brought Regis again. Of course, I had to play Regis. It's like my basic go-to deck right now. Let me get this card Kevin logo off. It's my go-to deck right now. There's no other deck that I really want to play, to be honest. There's a lot of stuff in the format, but nothing feels good. Everything just feels like it can't beat Lugia or Lost Box. And if you can't beat either of those two decks, your deck probably sucks. And the deck I was actually going to bring was going to be a Galarian Wheezing Pikachu deck. Basically, it's just like a hardcore anti-meta deck. I'm probably going to actually do a YouTube video on the deck for Tuesday's video. But that was going to be what I was really going to play to Knoxville. And in testing, the deck wasn't actually doing as good. I did bring it to my locals, and I liked the idea, and I did well with it at locals, and I was confident in the deck. I'm I want to play something a little bit different. I mean, why not, right? But unfortunately, I tested it the night before. I lost 3 games in a row to a Lugia, and I'm like, okay, yeah, this deck probably sucks. Or it doesn't suck, but I was losing to Lugia. I lost 3 games in a row to Lugia, and I even went first in 2 of them. And I played Aerodactyl, so I don't know. I wasn't confident in the deck. So I just went, we're just going to play Regis again, because Regis is just one of my favorite decks to play. It's the only fun deck to play in the format. It's really, really fun and really satisfying to play this deck. This is the list that I brought to the tournament. Kind of was a last minute put together, to be honest. I didn't really have time to kind of think about the list too much. I think this deck needs an Energy Lotto. I think the Yellhorn is pretty bad. Basically, it was similar to my Orlando list, except I added a 4th Path, because Path of Peak is just a really dumb card. Yellhorn was kind of the inclusion that I thought was going to be helpful. I thought there was going to be a lot more Pikachu and Ice Cube in Knoxville, because Pikachu is really good against Lost Box, especially now that Azul won with it, and also Ice Cube is good against Lost Box. So I expected a lot of people to bring Pikachu and Ice Cube combo decks. Which turned out to be a bad call, because there wasn't any that I ran into in day 1. So the Yellhorn turned to be kind of useless. So definitely cut it. I think if you're just going to play Regis, honestly, just take the L to Ice Cube. You can probably beat Flying Pikachu, though. It's not unlosable, but Pikachu's definitely tough, but not that bad. I've beaten it many times before. It's not that bad, but Yellhorn turned to be useless. I think the deck needs an Energy Lotto and maybe even a second Trekking Shoes. Trekking Shoes is really good. It almost acts as an extra ball search card in a way. The amount of times I Trekking Shoed into a Reggie was ridiculous. So definitely want to play more Shoes. Yeah, the Yellhorn is the most cuttable card in the deck. But yeah, Reggie just felt good. It's fun to play. It's one of the only fun decks to play in the format that isn't just poop on your opponent like Lugia. Lugia is good, but Lugia isn't fun to play, because Lugia is just a really ridiculously dumb deck. You know what I mean? So it's Regis is fun, and Regis rewards you for kind of skill and sequencing, and I like that. So let's take a look at my matchups. So I had a pretty rough start, and this is why I enjoyed my run at Knoxville. And by the way, my run at Knoxville, let's just say you're not the last you're going to see of it. Just going to spoil that right here and there. So yeah, round 1 I played against Jason Birch, who was a fan of the channel. Shout out to him. He was actually playing a Lugia deck with Greedent, VMAX, and an Avery. So game 1, I think I won game 1, and then game 2, I ended up losing. He kind of just bodied me. Yeah, it was just a kind of one of those games where I think my draws were really awkward in the final match, and that's kind of why I lost. It's just I had really bad draws. Regis doesn't really, like, Reggie's basically has to draw well for the deck to do well, and unfortunately, in round 1, the deck did not draw very well. But Jason was awesome. He was a great person to talk to. It was awesome that he played the Greedent deck. I think he said that he was inspired by me doing a video talking about it, so that's pretty cool. So big shout out to Jason for playing the Green deck. He got day 2 also, which is exciting, so huge congrats. Next up, I tied to Pierce Lofton, who was playing Darkrai V-Star, which was an interesting matchup. I think it's actually very favored for Reggie's because the prize trade is in your favor. He didn't play any Manaphy, which means like baby Regigigas is kind of insane. And even the sniping Regigigas is just also kind of broken. The problem was he played both Temple Sinnoh and Collapse Stadium, which made it very difficult. We actually ended up tying. We actually didn't know that time got called, so we just immediately had to tie. Like, we were just so focused on the game that neither of us heard time get called, and we were already like 5 turns into time, so we just basically got a tie there. I think I was probably going to lose game 3 anyways. I mean, bro, I was drawing really poorly in game 3 with, like, I was whiffing Reggie's really badly. And that was kind of the story with my first 3 rounds. Reggie's drew, like, why most people say they hate the Reggie deck, because all 3 of my rounds, basically, I never got to win those 3 games because the deck drew, like, just hot trash. Like, game 1 started off perfectly fine for both decks. For all 3 rounds, game 1 was like the deck drew fine, and then game 2 it drew bad, game 3 drew bad. And then I tied again, round number 3 here against Dimitrik, who's actually another really cool person. So yeah, once again, a fan of the channel. Big shout out to Dimitrik too. Really fun set we had against Mew. Unfortunately, we did tie. Again, game 3 looked pretty bad. I was drawing really bad in game 3. Game 1, I made a really bad misplay. He played a Collapse Stadium down, and I accidentally discarded a Reggie Steel, and I didn't check my discard pile, and there was already a Reggie Steel in my discard, because I just was like, oh, I don't need Reggie Steel. And I almost lost game 1, because I still won game 1, because he had a really slow start. But, like, the fact that I collapsed, the fact that I got rid of the Reggie Steel off the collapse, like, it tilted me. When I realized it, I was like, oh, I just threw the game so hard. Because I already had a 4-prize lead before he even took a knockout. I was upset, but I still managed to win the game, but it was bad, man. Like, it was a big throw, and I don't know. But yeah, we ended up tying. And then round 4, this is where the hype began. So I had a really rough start. Going into round 4, man, I was feeling pretty bad. I was like, dude, I don't know if I should have brought Reggie's. Like, the deck doesn't want to operate well. Like, I got one good game out of the deck, and then the deck just decides to just, like, fall apart, right? And then all of a sudden, the deck just became the best deck on the planet. Like, round 4 was a Reggie mirror. Both games, I 2-0'd my opponent because I got the turn 1 Reggie attack, which, I mean, the Reggie mirror is kind of stupid. It's like whoever gets the first knockout essentially wins the game. Unless, like, your opponent has, like, a really bad, like, draw or something, which could happen. But, yeah, I felt bad for my opponent because I 2-0'd him in the set with the Reggie Mirror. But, again, like, I managed to find my Aurora energies before he did. I don't think Zachary played a Cape of Toughness in his deck, which was something that I actually think I should have put in the deck, actually, because most of my rounds, I would say, like, a good majority of my rounds, there was at least a Reggie beside me. Like, literally, like, both sides of me, there was at least a Reggie player. So I was dodging Reggies all day because I was sitting beside so many Reggie decks. I think there was, like, at least 2 or 3 rows of Reggies at every table I was nearly at. It was insane. Like, I'd look over beside me and it would be like, Reggie. So I hit 1 Reggie, beat it. Again, Cape of Toughness would have been another really good tech for the Reggie deck going into Knoxville. Round 5, played against James Edwards, who was on Kirim Pelkia, which is a really cool deck. And I still have hope in the deck. Like, Kirim Pelkia could still be, like, an okay deck. You know, it's not bad. Unfortunately, he just literally had an auto loss to Reggie's. He has an Empoleon, but when I have 4 Path to Peak, the Empoleon is not doing much. And he didn't play Collapse or Temple or anything. So, unfortunately, he was unable to just basically do anything. Like, just, it was a very, very good matchup for me. And then round number 6, I played against Nicholas Thomas, who was playing Lost Box, another really good set we had here. Shout out to Nicholas, once again, was a fan of the channel. And I think James was also, yeah, shout out to James and Nicholas. They're both fans of the channel. Nicholas was playing Lost Box. It was a pretty good set. I think he had a couple rough beats throughout the games. Like, I think he had some pretty bad, like, Flower Selects and Chorus's Experiments. He was playing Zamazenta, Kyogre, and Dragonite. The Dragonite was really scary. The Zamazenta was tough, but I was like, Zamazenta's scary, but Regidrago can one-shot it. So if I just kind of prioritize, if I don't use Regidrago at all until he uses Zam, I'm probably fine. That's kind of how I dealt with the Zamazenta. The Dragonite was awkward, but he got to a point where he was unable to find a Manaphy in time, and like Dragonite's like attack damage really helped me out quite a bit. And it got to a point where he couldn't get Manaphy down in time, and I was like, I took a Regigigas KO and a Cramorant and the Dragonite on the bench because it had 40 HP left. Because I think I hit it with a belted Drago, I think. Then round number 7 was against Colton Day, who was a really awesome opponent. He's actually a really good player. I think he was using like a top 8 playmat or something. Like he's a pretty good player from what I've heard. He was playing a really cool Lugia deck. He was playing a Lugia deck with Kyogre from Crown Zenith and a Roseanne's backup. So he had the spice. I don't think Colton was playing Dunsparce though. I can't remember. I know I asked him at the end of the set if he had the Dunsparce. Every time I play against Lugia, I always add they have Dunsparce because you just gotta know. If I never see the Dunsparce, I'm like, did you have it? But yeah, Colton's deck was really unique, really cool. So this is one thing I'll say about Lugia. Lugia is a very dumb card. I think a lot of people agree that it's not a fun deck to play against, but there's so much creativity you can make with Lugia that it actually makes for some pretty interesting concepts. Like, it was a Lugia deck with the Crown Zenith Kyogre in it that does 180 snipe. Like, that's just really cool. Like, I love people who innovate. I love that. It was just, that made my day. I love it. Like, Lugia's like, that's why I play Lugia Mewtwo Union to Toronto, man, because you can play some crazy things with Lugia. And then round number 8 was against Chris Haynes. I think was another fan of the channel, so shout out to Chris. He was playing Lugia once again. He had some pretty bad beats, though. I mean, in game 1, he bricked pretty hard. Path of Peak is a monster. And then game 2 kind of just went the same. Like, he just had really awkward draws. He was putting up a pretty good fight, though, in game 2, but I just kind of out-tempoed him, unfortunately. And then I was feeling so good going around. Round 9, I felt so good. I was like, yo, we're going to make this comeback. Just for the record, if I actually made day 2 off of the 0-1-2 start, it would have made for some really good content for a potential video that may or may not be coming out within the next month on a big YouTube channel. That's all I'm going to say. But unfortunately, I got to my winning in. And, oh, it was a very unfortunate set. So basically what happened was game number 1, again, it was against Arcturus. So game number 1 went horribly because he played Temple of Sinnoh in his Duraludon deck. He templed me and only had Arceus V in place. So I'm like, oh, I can win. And I researched into the Regirock KO and I went for it and I completely forgot about Temple of Sinnoh. I didn't attack or anything, but I screwed up really badly. I kind of threw because then he was able to, like, Lost City the Regirock, and at that point it was, like, almost impossible to win because if I ever get another Regirock and play it, it's going to the Lost Zone. So really tilted about that. And then we got deck checked, and then 2 of my sleeves were, like, kind of bent a little bit, so I had to re-sleeve my entire deck. And then game 2, just, he washed me. Like, just, I got obliterated. I could not find Path of Peak to save my life in game number 2, unfortunately. And I play 4, so yeah, I just couldn't find Path in time in game number 2 and just got bodied. Really, really upsetting way. Like, Duraludon, it's not even a bad matchup, but it's like, it's tough because it's just sometimes if you don't draw well, Duraludon's one of those decks where you have to draw well against it to even have a chance of beating it, mainly because you have to outspeed their Lost Cities. After playing this matchup, I honestly kind of want to play 3 Regirocks because at least 1 Regirock goes in the Lost Zone in the match because it's going to get knocked out by the Duraludon. So very much considering 3 Regirock literally just for this matchup, but it's probably bad because Duraludon players can also not evolve the Duraludon. They can use the Duraludon V against you, which is actually pretty tough. So really unfortunate run. It would have been such a sick comeback if I won 6 in a row to get day 2. That'd have been so hype. I was pretty upset that I didn't do that. But it is what it is. It was a fun weekend nonetheless. I met a lot of cool people. I was hanging out with a lot of people. I hung out with Real Breaking Nate. I hung out with my friend Lindsay. I was hanging out with my friend Anil. It's just a really fun weekend. Spent all day at the airport, though. I'll tell you, the trip home Monday was not very fun because, of course, living in Canada means you got to live in the snowy climate. So there's a snowstorm today in Canada, and my flight got delayed. So I got home literally at midnight. So I was at the airport for well over 12 hours today. In Knoxville, lay over to Charlotte, and then home to Toronto. So my brain is fried. Like, I've been listening to music all day to, like, pass the time, and my brain is just fried right now. So I'm going to head to bed. But yeah, there should be another double upload here on the second channel later tomorrow, or today, I guess, because it's already 1 a.m. So later today, there's going to be another video on the channel. Let's keep you out on that. I'll catch y'all later. Thanks for watching. Thanks for everybody who came up and said hi in Knoxville for the record. I do appreciate y'all once again. Whoever got a picture with me, want me to sign something, all that good stuff. It means a lot. So thank you once again. It was great meeting everybody in Knoxville, and I will be in Charlotte. So if anybody wants to meet me in Charlotte and didn't get to meet me in Knoxville, there's opportunity. All right, peace out.